Hello, hello, hello. I'm going to try to be a bit more laconic because I think a lot of people, when they're starting out, they go way too loud. So yeah, welcome to my stream. Basically, three topics for today are going to be England, ADD and autism, and Wineberry icing. So let's start with England. Yay! We actually got a win, and England matters so much more to me than Canada does because Canada, who cares? Sorry, you guys suck. England actually has a history to be proud of. Canada, you don't. Sorry. Good entertainment, good entertainers, of various kinds. But yeah, nobody really cares. So England had local elections basically over the past few days, and the Reform apparently just swept the floor with everybody. Apparently, like the Liberal Democrats are kind of like, I don't know, the neoconservative party, I guess, for England. They're kind of like just free. They're like the pro Baker party, I guess, is the best way to describe them. They hold steady. The Green Party held steady. The so-called conservatives got trounced, and Labour got hit pretty bad. And all of the votes outside of Liberal Democrats and Green Party went basically to Reform Party instead, and so they got a lot of seats, and that's important for a few different reasons. One, it provides people with it provides a bench. If you have people who have had experience of running and winning, that's a bench you can draw from for leadership positions for the national stuff. You need to create a bench. It's like the little leagues in baseball. You need that, except you can't just buy candidates from other parties and hope to win. That's not going to work. Second, it shows where the English people are right now. They're sick of it. They don't want to be any of this happening right now. And three, it helps increase the chances that a conservative party wins next time. It helps to increases the chance Stormer steps down. And it's a really, really good thing for anybody who cares about liberty in the West and anything else. The one question people have is, oh, well, Nigel Farage, he's not reliable. And no, he's not. But you can hardly blame him if so many people have been targeted in various ways who are on the right in England. You kind of need somebody who's a little bit fake to make it up there. You actually see this a lot with conservative politicians. The ones that are like devoted 100%, they tend to get shot down. The ones that actually make a difference tend to be the ones who are kind of flaky and kind of hide it. Trump, Musk, so many people. I mean, so many people hid their conservatism and made it big, and then they can make it happen. So I don't really blame Nigel Farage. People are like, oh, well, he's not a true, like, he's not conservative enough for this moment. It's like, well, let him cook. You don't know that. Maybe it's the right approach for England. Maybe he's going to be more based than you think he's going to be. Like, he is the one who, for years and years, covered the boats coming over the English Channel. He did that for a long time. Like, when he wasn't running for office, he, like, committed to the bit. And this has also happened. A lot of conservatives are like, oh, well, he's not radical enough. And I'm like, yeah, but he was there for a long time. I respect people who actually accomplish something, not just people who complain about things. Like people talk about Ben Shapiro, oh, he's too pro-Israel. Well, first of all, no shit, the Jewish guy is going to be pro-Israel. Are you surprised by this? How? Like, I wish my people are kind of that based. Polish people were that based. I wish the English people were that based. But second, he built the Daily Wire. He built something that actually had an impact. Yes, I respect that more than somebody who's just taking pot shots from the sidelines. That said, Carl Benjamin would be a better leader for the right in England, but I think he's positioning himself. He's just not there yet. As a political force, he's making it there. He might be king. So yeah, I'm really happy about England. I think it's a good sign. I don't think it's enough. I think that you're going to have to be pretty radical to keep England English. That's just how it is. That's why you don't want it to get this far. Especially, like, most groups I think could assimilate pretty well. Islam isn't. Sorry, liberals, it's not happening. But anyway, that's my opinion. I'm not English. I'm an American, so I don't really know what's going on in England, and that's true. I don't think people who talk about American politics from other countries know what they're talking about. So I'm kind of talking on my butt, but who cares? It's fun. Second topic, ADD and autism. So first of all, I've never been diagnosed with either of these. So full disclosure, technically I'm neither of these. In all likelihood, I'm probably both, to one extent or another. And I was kind of just thinking about how some of the traits of, well, I'll talk about ADD first, of ADD are actually like really well suited for grade school, middle school, and high school. Because in those years, you're basically spending an hour on these different subjects and switching from time to time to time. You're constantly switching. You're constantly stimulated by new things. So, and they're like, oh, but you're not bored in class. It's like, I don't think boredom in class is about intelligence. I think it's just a sign of how social you are more than anything. Like everybody else is socially adept and socially getting along with people, making friends. That is a good trait, not a bad trait. So they're distracted from class because of a positive set of traits. And I have noticed that a lot of ADD type people do very, very well in school, but then they underperform later on. There's a lot of that. And I feel like it's because the school system kind of, you're really good at switching from topic to topic, but it's really good at getting you to think you're smart. Then you get to the point where you actually graduate, you're in the real world, and suddenly the skill set that's going to get you through is not being all over the place. It's being focused on one thing at a time. I'm obviously somewhat successful, so I'm been smart enough to kind of get past it. But it's been an issue. Constantly switching projects and not ever seeing focused on the project enough that I'm on. Might be a spot trait. I'm not sure. So yeah, and I've seen that a lot where just underperformers tend to have that streak about them. And the thing that's really tough about it is that you think that you're smart because you have knowledge of the classics and history and math and so many different things. But really, that wasn't your intelligence. That was your ADD just getting bored of things really quick and switching topics a lot. So I'm not sure what that really means net. It means maybe this, if you have ADD, or people are always surprised that you're not as smart as you first appear. And I think that's a good thing to keep track of. Autism is similar, where they're like, oh, you're really, really smart, especially like high functioning masking autism. Where, oh, you're really, really smart. You're so intelligent. You know math and stuff. But really, you're just focused on class because you're not interested in the social ties with your classmates, right? And again, that's the type of thing where it comes across really, really well when you're young and taking math classes and stuff. People say, oh, you're so smart. But then it dies when you get to the real world, where suddenly your social ties actually mean something. Now, I don't think it's as striking of a difference, because there are jobs of being weirdly autistic is a very, very useful thing. If you're a programmer, if you're an engineer, anything like that. But there's an underperforming mechanism. So I think this is why like B and C students maybe sometimes do better, is because they're not dumber. They are more socially aware. So what you're testing for in school isn't intelligence. It's partly intelligence, but it's partly social acumen to an inverse degree. Yeah. So this is why there's a lot of stupid people who are very highly educated. I'm actually going to cut this a little bit short just because I've got a soccer game. But one final topic, Wineberry icing, I'd highly recommend it. So every summer, I make like a bunch of wineberry. I pick a bunch of wineberries from the woods. It's free. It's Tupperware containers. Nobody's talked to me about it so far, so we'll see if it's illegal. But I don't think it is. Get Tupperware container, a few quarts. Really, really useful for a few different foods. Put stuff in the freezer, keeps its taste. Anyway, what you do is you basically mix butter. You melt down the wineberries. You mix butter in, sugar, and like 4 tablespoons. They say the recipe says 4 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. Mix it all in the pot. Let it cool down. Then you whip it up, and suddenly you have homemade my Wineberry icing, which is just fantastic. If you can use it for something, I broke off too much Wineberry from the ice block that it got frozen into. So I ended up making like a quart of icing. I've been eating that, and I'm like, this is homemade. It's natural, but it's so bad for me, right? But definitely easy to do, and it's just so original. But what sucks is that you need somebody to cook for it, because if you eat all that icing or make enough cookies to make the icing actually part of something, you're gonna gain weight and get fat. That's just how it is. So it's like I really need to find a group that I can just give stuff, like baked items to. Can't give it to Bible study because that's at a coffee shop. A coffee shop makes money off that. Can't give it to family because, well, I probably could give some to family. I've done that in the past. Friends, not enough of them. Anyway, it just sucks. I know how to make this really unique, cool dish, and I don't have anybody to share it with. Anyway, that's all for now. Cheers.